All right. We got the lighting a little bit better this time. Still not, HD Hollywood quality, but we got some better lighting now. This is a series where I'm talking about Thich Nhat Hanh's book Be Free Where You Are, which is an incredible transcription of a talk he gave at a prison just out of the goodness of his heart. And I'm sharing quotes from this book along with my lessons and takeaways. So let's dive right in. Today, we're going to be talking about freedom and what freedom means to Thich Nhat Hanh and what it can mean for us and why that matters. He says on page 6, cultivating freedom. For me, there is no happiness without freedom, and freedom is not given to us by anyone. We have to cultivate it ourselves. I will share with you how we get greater freedom for ourselves. During the time that we sit, walk, eat, or work outside, we cultivate our freedom. Freedom is what we practice every day. No matter how or where you find yourself, if you have freedom, you're happy. I have many friends who spent time in forced labor camps, and because they knew how to practice, they did not suffer as greatly. In fact, they grew in their spiritual lives, for which I am very proud of them. By freedom, I mean freedom from afflictions, from anger, and from despair. If you have anger in you, you have to transform anger in order to get your freedom back. If there is despair in you, you need to recognize that energy and not allow it to overwhelm you. You have to practice in such a way that you transform the energy of despair and attain the freedom you deserve, the freedom from despair. And I'll finish up with this paragraph. You can practice freedom every moment of your daily life. Every step you take can help you reclaim your freedom. Every breath you take can help you develop and cultivate your freedom. When you eat, eat as a free person. When you walk, walk as a free person. When you breathe, breathe as a free person. This is possible anywhere. So, what he's speaking about, and he goes into more depth as the book progresses, is how through the practice of mindfulness, we can cultivate freedom from our suffering. And by suffering, I mean these emotions of anger, despair, sadness, loneliness, all these emotional afflictions that we live with and that cause us great suffering. This doesn't mean to say that through the practice of mindfulness, you'll become a robot who doesn't feel anything. Instead, what I've found in my personal experience is that you will still have painful emotions, but there's also a sense of caring and compassion and of joy that comes up within you, even in the midst of some very intense emotions that are painful. And the way that I felt this more and more, and the way that Thich Nhat Hanh recommends you practice in this book, is that you practice mindfulness. And that simply means paying attention to what you're doing, paying attention to, for example, how the sound of my voice sounds in your consciousness, how your feet feel on the floor or your butt feels in the chair, how your breath feels as it goes in and out of your nose or your mouth. All these things are so simple, but if we practice them, they become avenues for freedom because as we practice them, you develop solidity, by which I mean you develop this ability to withstand your emotions and not be consumed by them. You still feel these emotions, but you're able to see them as emotions and say, hey, like, I see you. It's okay for you to be here. And we don't need to panic. Because sometimes when we're in the grip of really intense emotions, there is a feeling of like, I want to run away. I don't want to feel this anymore. Or we distract ourselves or we numb ourselves. For me, that usually looks like, hey, I'm going to play a bunch of video games or I'm going to go on a bunch of dates or I'm going to smoke some weed, or I'm going to look at porn. All these things that distract us from feeling what we're feeling without actually dealing with it in a productive way. And the productive way is to feel our emotions, but not let ourselves be overwhelmed by them. And by practicing mindfulness, we can make that much, much easier for ourselves. At least for me, I practice mindfulness every day. I do my meditation, I do yoga. I find that my sitting meditation, I do it lying down actually, is the most important part for me because it develops this clarity of seeing when I have emotions. And by doing this, I develop the trust in myself that I can handle my emotional storms and what comes my way. And it's very transformative. So I hope this was useful to you. I'm going to keep going through this book. We'll probably have like 10 parts of this by the time we're done. And I really appreciate you watching. Bye.